To go back, you mentioned sparring. One of the fan questions was, what was your most memorable sparring session? Would it be Manny? Either of those camps with Manny?
Man, I had some great sessions with Manny. I'll tell a quick story about my sparring session with Manny. I went out to Hollywood. Long story short, I went out to Hollywood. Somebody called, says, hey, Manny Pacquiao's getting ready to fight Miguel Cotto. You guys should come out. I think Freddie Roach would like him and want to take Shawn over to the Philippines to train with Manny. My dad said, okay, we go out there, we spar. Didn't really say too much to Freddie, but he liked what he saw, and he took me over there. I went over there. The first day I met Manny, I was over there like a week. And the first day I met Manny, after being there for a whole week, was the day I was going to spar him. I never seen him, shake hands with him, conversation, nothing before the day I'm sparring him. And I just told myself, like, treat it like any other sparring session. And met him, shook his hand. Freddie's like, hey, Manny, this is the guy you're going to be sparring with. And, we shook hands. We went our separate ways. And for me, I was just like clockwork because I don't talk to the guys I'm sparring with anyway. All that. We get in the ring. My dad and I, we say our prayer. And as soon as the bell rings, I turn around to step forward to start the sparring session. And it was just like this wind came over. It was like, it was like realization that it's about to happen. And I remember thinking to myself like, oh, this is happening. And then, we touched gloves and then we just start going. And that's all she wrote. It was very, for me, that was a very unreal but real moment because I didn't look at Manny Pacquiao like he was anybody else until we actually started to spar. And I was like, yo, this is happening. We had some bangers, man. We had some sparring sessions where I think he was supposed to go like 5 or 6 rounds with me and then get in the ring and go with somebody else. And we in the last round, 6th round. And we toe to toe. It's exciting. And for me, I hear people while I'm sparring and they're oohing and on and all that kind of stuff. We keep going. 6th round ends. We look at each other and we just start smiling. We touch gloves. I go back to my corner and my dad's like, I remember this one. My dad's like, let's wait to see if they want to go another round or if they want to pull us out. We're not just gonna get out. That's all right. And we're standing there and he comes over and he says, that was good work. I'm done for the day. That is how you run a professional championship training camp. There's going to be days where the plan is 10 rounds, but you get in the ring and your 6 rounds are great. Ended there. No need to do any more. No need to do any less, and I was able to really just grow and learn a lot from Manny. I think it's a lot of things that my dad and I do now based on what we saw back then from him.
It sounds like he had an aura like Rick James.
Yeah,
Charlie Murphy say so.
100%. I was and ever since then, man. I remember another story. I love Manny. So Manny was the first one that had those Nike boots, boxing, and they were fly, especially when I first saw him. And I was nervous as heck. Asked him for some. He said, "Yeah, I'll get you some." The last day of sparring, I still didn't get my shoes. I'm a little kid at this point. I look at my dad. I'm like, I need my shoes. He said, why don't you go ask him for it? I was like, I don't want to. He said, Shawn, go ask him for the shoes. I go knock on the door. He's in the locker room. I go in there. I'm like shaking. I'm like, hey, Manny, get those boxing shoes for me. He says, buddy, you didn't get your shoes? I said, no. And he starts looking around, looking at people. And then it's like this, all of a sudden, it's like this Godfather. He says, whispers to somebody, slaps him in the back of the head.
Come on. Don't put that out there.
Dude puts his head down, walks out of the locker room. Now my heart's beating even more because I'm nervous. I don't know what's gonna happen. Nothing bad, but I'm like, I don't want to get anybody else in trouble.
Right.
He looks around, he's like, you can have these. And he takes the shoes off of his feet and he gives them to me. That's who Manny Pacquiao is. And that's who he's been from the first day I met him to even now. You see everything that he's doing in his country. He is just a completely awesome and down-to-earth dude. He gave me the shoes right off of his feet. I couldn't fit them, and I actually wore them in the fight that you came to, Carson, in Cleveland.
Oh, nice.
Right. And after the end of the fight, I was like, I'll never do this again. I couldn't fit those shoes.
Your first ever belt.
Yeah. And I bounced around in them shoes, man, hurting the whole fight.
So, Shawn, it sounds like that sparring is what we would predict a match with you and him would go like electric.
Yeah.
Electric. Fireworks.
And I think that that's kind of if someone says, "Hey, Freddie, why won't you fight Shawn Porter?" or you say, "Hey, Manny, why won't you fight Shawn Porter?" I'm sure in the back of their minds they understand like what I was able to do back then, being only maybe 23 or 24, maybe at the time, 24, I think. And then you fast forward all of the experience that I've had now, 33 now. I really am a grown man now. And I just think that they understand, like, it will be a hard fight. It will be an exciting fight, but it will probably be the retirement fight. Win, lose, or draw would be the retirement fight, because I really don't think there's anyone out there who can give him a more exciting fight.
I don't think it's even physically possible for that fight not to be exciting.
Yeah.
With your styles, like, that's one where you could look at that 100 different ways, and there's no way that's not fun to watch.
Yeah, and I don't mean to take anything from Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford, because those are the other two guys who really would like to fight Manny, and I think that those fights would be exciting too. But it's just a difference in the level sometimes of excitement,
Yeah, well, and also we always talk about styles making fights. I don't think it's a slight to Errol or Bud. The stylistic matchup of you and Manny, I think, is the most fun to watch of any of the three of those, which I think all three are great fights, and please let one of those happen in 2021, preferably Shawn. But
look, I get muted today.
Yeah, I was making sure I wasn't getting muted on now that we were live. But I think that would be exciting.
I'm curious to see what Manny's gonna do. I
have no clue what he's gonna do.
Yeah. Everybody's curious.
I'm curious to see what he's gonna do.
I hope it's not McGregor or something. He's earned the right to kind of do what he wants, but it would be frustrating.
Had a long career. No joke, man. Like, I mean, there was a point in time where I was saying that Manny was one of the greatest and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of was just kind of following the Joes and saying what everybody else was saying and stuff like that. And then one day I really just sat down and I started reading about him and looking at his fights and stuff like that. I was like, for this dude to do what he's done over the course of his career and coming from where he comes from, it's amazing.
Yeah. No, he has done everything and more, I think, in his career compared to a lot of guys. So I think he's earned the right to do whatever he wants, but that would not make me less frustrated if he does something like kind of off the trail.
Don't tell me you didn't enjoy what you saw, because I know you did. What you need to do now, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit that notification button. Check us out every week, every Tuesday, something new for you right here on the Porterweight Podcast.